Okay, please come to one more self practice question number 27, which is a May 2019 exam question. And as you can see, this is one of the important questions for 8 marks approximately. Similar problem but asked in a different manner. The closing price of LX Limited is 24 rupees per share as on 31st March 2019. So what they have given you, this time answer is given. Price is 24 rupees per share on 31st March 2019 on National Stock Exchange. The P ratio was 6. If you know the price and if you know the P ratio, you can find the EPS. If you know closing price and P ratio, you can find EPS. It was found that an amount of rupees 24 lakh as income and an extraordinary loss of rupees 9 lakh were included in the books of account. So what is this 24 lakh income? This is extraordinary income. This I need to remove. There is an extraordinary loss of 9 lakh. This I need to remove and then find out the normal profit. The existing operations except for the extraordinary items are expected to continue in the future. Further, the company has launched a new product during the year with the following expectation. So this is the income that you will generate from the new business: sales, material, labor, fixed cost. So after computing the income of existing operation, I will add the income of new product. That will give me total profit for the future year. The company has 5 lakh equity share of rupees 10 each and 1 lakh 9% preference share of rupees 100 each. So this company has some preference share also. The P ratio is 6 times. The post tax cost of capital is 10% per annum. This I will require for valuation. This is capitalization rate. The tax rate is 34%. This time the question is compute the existing profit from the old operation. And then we have to do now reverse working. Because to find the profit from old operation, we have to do the reverse working. You see, the price of the share is given 24 rupees. And the P ratio is given to you is 6 times. So first I'll explain how you will do it. The MPS is 24, P ratio is 6, which means EPS will be 4 and the number of shares are 5 lakh. Number of shares 5 lakhs. So your earning available to equity shareholder will be 20 lakh. And this earning is arrived after deducting preference dividend. So we'll add back preference dividend also. Preference dividend will be 9% of 100. 9 rupees per unit into 1 lakh. 9 lakh. So my profit after tax will be actually 29 lakh. And PBT will be 29 lakh divided by 1 minus 0.34 because 34% is tax rate. So actually your profit before tax will become something like 43.93 lakh or something. So this will become my starting number for the calculation of next answer, value of business. Now while calculating the value of business, This is my PBT from existing operation 43.93 lakh. I will remove this 24 lakh extraordinary income and I will add back this 9 lakh rupees extraordinary loss. That will give me normal profit before tax from existing business. I will add the net income from new product. I will add the net income from the new product and then I will get the revised PBT for the next year operation less tax. That will give me profit after tax. Then you capitalize it at 10%, you get the value of business. So this is my scope of work now. Write down in the notebook. Your first question is calculate the profit from existing business. Calculate the profit from existing business, right hand side amount. Right hand side amount. Then under that write down P ratio 6 times. P ratio 6 times. Very easy question, but you should not lose concentration. Already done in one earlier problem. That time we were asked to find the price. Now from the price you have to find the profit of the existing operation. Point B, write down market price per share. Market price per share 24. Write fast. Point C, EPS. EPS will be 24 by 6. 24 by 6. 4 rupees. Point D, write down number of equity shares. Number of equity shares. This is a given figure 5 lakh. So point number E, profit after preference dividend. Profit after preference dividend. C multiplied by D. You keep writing the points number here. A, B, C, D, E, F, like that. So what will I do? I will add back preference dividend. I will add back preference dividend 9 lakh. How did you get this 9 lakh? 1 lakh preference share of 100 rupees each into 9%. Show the calculation. 9 lakh. So that gives me profit after tax 29 lakh. That gives me PAT 29 lakhs. Now the remaining task is easy. You know how to convert PAT into PBT. If tax rate is 34%, divide PAT by 66%, so you will get PBT. So write down next line, PBT equal to 29 lakh divided by 66%. 29 lakh divided by 66%. 43 lakh 93,939. So this is my PBT, but it includes some extraordinary loss, extraordinary gain. So we'll adjust that also. Less extraordinary income. Less extraordinary income. In bracket write 24 lakh. Add back extraordinary losses. Why we are adding back and why we are deducting, you can write there not likely to recur. Not likely to recur 2 times. This you add. Now you take these 3 figures. 43 lakh 93,939 minus 24 lakh plus 9 lakh. So that gives me 28 lakh 93,939. 28 lakh 93,939 into bracket normal operating profit. Normal operating PBT. Your actual PBT for this year is 43,93,939, but the normal income which you have earned from your day-to-day business is 28,93,939. Using this number and using the profit from the new product, now we'll find out the future maintainable profit. So step number 2, write down, which is your second question, calculation of value of business. Calculation of value of business. Calculation of value of business. Step number 1 already done. So write down point number A. Existing normal profit. Existing normal profit from old operations. Existing normal profit from old operations. In bracket step 1, 28,93,939. Point B, add profit from new product. Add profit from new product. Under that you write down 1, sales, inner column. If you want, you can write here rupees in lakhs. This column 150 as per the question. 2, less material cost 40 in bracket. 3, labor cost 34 in bracket. 4, fixed cost 24 in bracket. So now outside the bracket write down 52 lakh. This is profit from new product. This is profit from existing business. So point number next will be C. I will call it point number C. This was A, this was B, this is C. Total PBT is A plus B, old plus new. 80,93,939. Check the answer. So far so good. Now the next line will be point number D, less tax. Less tax at the rate of 34%. So take on your calculator 80,93,939 into 0.34, 2751939. So point number E will be future maintainable profit after tax. Future maintainable profit after tax 5342,000. 5342,000. So this is your future maintainable profit after tax. Next point number F, write down capitalization factor, which is given 10%. So future maintainable profit divided by capitalization factor will give you value of entire business. Value of entire business, take on your calculator 53,42,000 divided by 10%. So value of the entire business 5,34,20,000. 5,34,20,000 less value of preference share. This valuation is also including preference share value. This valuation is also including preference share value. How do you know? Because you are capitalizing profit after tax. See here, you have not yet deducted preference share dividend. So if you are capitalizing PAT, you are getting the value of entire business irrespective of who has financed it. So that gives me total value of the business. From that, I will remove preference share, less preference share value. Preference share are 1 lakh into 100, 100 lakhs, 1 crore. So that is value of equity share. This last two lines they have not asked. But what you do, in your question you add a third part also. Point number third, you write down value, find value of equity share. Please add one more question in your question number 27. Find value of equity shares. Find value of equity shares. After considering new product, find value of equity shares after considering new product. So this will be the answer. In some question they ask both value of business also, value of equity also. So value of business minus preference share will give you value of equity. So this is one more question on profit earning capacity value method. 3 questions of different types we have solved, and one question I have given as homework which is quite similar to one of the 3 problems that we have solved. To remind you, question number 25 is your homework. This is one type of problems that they regularly ask, but the highly tested question from this topic is discounted cash flow approach. Come back to your theory part. Discounted cash flow approach means present value of free cash flows. Present value of free cash flows. So we will understand the concept of free cash flow. So free cash flow means cash flow that is available to providers of finance. After considering future capex and working capital needs. Very important concept now we are going to learn is concept of free cash flow. Like in your capital budgeting chapter you have learned CF80. Here we have free cash flow as a very important calculation. Cash flow that is available to the providers of finance. This should be finance. Providers of finance after considering the future capital expenditure. Capex means capital expenditure and working capital needs. So I also have to take into account that in future I need to incur some capital expenditure, because as the business will grow you need to put more money in capex, and similarly your working capital needs will also grow. Hence the funds or the cash flow that will finally be available which can distribute it to shareholders and investor will be after taking into account the cash that will be required for future capital expenditure and working capital needs. And after adding all the cash flows, of course by converting them into present value, that gives me the value of business. So what are the various technicalities involved, steps involved, and all minute points that have to be taken care of we are going to discuss now. So please come to discounted cash flow, point number C. Point number C, most of the things are already written. When I will ask you to write, you can write, and plus you can write down whatever explanation you want to write. You are most welcome to do that. So first thing you might have noted somewhere, free cash flow means cash flow which is available to the providers of finance after meeting future capital expenditure and future working capital needs. So discounted cash flow technique involves estimating future cash flow. Previous three problem was based on estimating profit. This is based on estimating future cash flow. In addition to that, a business will require additional working capital. If you start a business, you may need 1 lakh working capital, day-to-day capital. But after 5 years, you can't survive with 1 lakh. As your business volume will go up, you may require say 2 lakh, like that. So that is called additional working capital. Plus you can't manage with the same fixed asset which you started here. You will need to buy more fixed asset. So my cash flow will be after taking into account additional working capital and additional capital expenditure. Estimated capital expenditure plans during the projected period. Same point repeated. So you have to estimate the requirement of fixed asset, working capital or capital expenditure. So by combining these three, what we get is called free cash flow. Free cash flow, cash flow which is available now, which can be given to the investors. And then in order to discount it, we need to estimate the WACC of the firm, weighted average cost of capital of the firm, which normally will be given to you. If not given, then you know how to compute it. Weighted average cost of capital is weight of debt into cost of debt plus weight of equity. In this you can note down, plus weight of equity into cost of equity, weight of preference share into cost of preference share. Then weight should be based on market values. Weight should be based on market values of securities. Wherever market values are available, weight should be based on market value of security. Cost of debt is I into 1 minus T upon net proceed. Already we have learnt how to compute cost of debt in the earlier chapters. Cost of equity again depends on the data given, can be based on CAPM model, RF plus beta into RM minus RF, or sometime it is based on D1 upon P0 plus G, or sometime it is based on EPS upon MPS, or 1 by P ratio. So I have given many formula. Depending upon the situation and the data given, you will find out the cost of debt, cost of equity. Cost of preference will be usually equal to the rate of preference dividend only. This is not new to us because in your basic concepts we have discussed how to compute the cost of capital, and that time we have discussed that this will be required in this chapter. But don't worry, when we will come to this calculation I will explain again. And then you estimate the terminal value. Sir, what is terminal value? So for that I need to first give you some background. Suppose we have to do the valuation today. Time is 0. Here we have to do valuation. We have to estimate the future cash flows. But I can't keep on estimating forever. There is a limitation on you can estimate for, let's say, 4 years, 3 years, 5 years. So this I will call explicit forecast period. Explicit forecast period where we can estimate for individual years. I can estimate here free cash flow will be so much, here second year so much, third year so much, but then I can't estimate for next 50 years or 20 years. But business has a very long life, not just 4. So what we do, we compute, suppose we can estimate for 5 years, then we will compute the terminal value here. Terminal value means value at the end of explicit forecast period, like we have done in valuation of share chapter. These two chapters are quite interconnected. In your valuation of share chapter, we have computed terminal value, the price of the share at the end of the finite period, like P4, P5. So here what I'll do, I will assume that this free cash flow after this finite period either will grow at a constant rate or will no growth, same amount will repeat. And you know the formula, if the cash flow becomes constant forever, the present value becomes FCF by K, and if the cash flow is growing at a constant rate, it will be FCF into 1 plus growth rate divided by K minus G. I will dictate later, only understand right now. So whatever may be the question giving you for this period, infinite period, the present value of this infinite period at the end of the last year of the explicit forecast period is called terminal value. So terminal value means value. Now you can write at the end of explicit forecast period. Value at the end of explicit forecast period. So either terminal value is FCF upon K, or terminal value will be FCF into 1 plus G by K minus G, if it is growing at a constant rate. This is no growth formula, already you know from time value of money, and this is growth formula, but growth should be at a constant rate. And last point is estimate surplus asset or non-trade investment, because a business may contain some non-trade investment also, like investment in a government bond. If you are valuing the whole business, all the assets, whether trade or non-trade, whether related to business or non-related to business, everything will get valued. But in most of the exam questions, this adjustment has not been asked. But we have to be future ready. If this is your house and it contains some furniture also, and you are selling the whole house, so main you are charging for the house, but are you not going to charge for this AC and the furniture etc. which is also installed in that? Yes. That is what happens in business valuation. Even the non-trade asset will be valued and will be added to get the total value of business. Now, next point, how to measure value of operations. How to measure value of operations? Find out the free cash flow of each business unit. If a company has many business unit, find out the free cash flow of each business unit. Free cash flow is operating cash flow net of tax and after deducting of change in working capital and change in capital expenditure, which are not covered by positive cash flow from operating activities. So formula, write down here, free cash flow. What they are saying is net operating profit after tax minus, or first I will add depreciation to remove the effect of non-cash expenditure, and then minus capex. Capital expenditure in business is called capex, and minus working capital, additional working capital. Some of the companies call it OPEX, operating expenditure, but in our notes nowhere OPEX is used. This is internal terminology used by some companies, capex, OPEX, workex. Okay. Free cash flow is estimated for the explicit forecast period. Now, as a student, this line is easy for you because in every question they will give you that the cash flow for the first 4 year will be, or 5 year will be so and so amount, or they will give you some formula, sales, expense, tax, interest, whatever, and based on that the student has to find out first explicit forecast cash flow, because you can't keep on estimating for many years. In fact, nowadays estimating for more than 1 year is also difficult. You don't know where you will be after 1 year, just imagine. And you are imagining the sales will be 50 lakh unit after 5 years. So therefore, estimate for only few years which you think can be forecasted. Cash flow beyond the explicit forecast is given by two items: estimated working capital release after the explicit forecast period and explicit net realizable value of tangible and intangible asset at the end of the forecast period. These two lines are relevant if the business will terminate after forecast period. This is what we used to do in capital budgeting problem. When a project was started, project will generate cash flow for 5 years. After 5 years, the working capital which is tied up in the project is released and the salvage value of the tangible and intangible assets were realized. But in case of this chapter, the life of business can be very long, theoretically infinite. So after the explicit forecast period, we may not do this adjustment. Instead of that, we will assume that cash flow will continue either without growth or with growth. Next point, if a firm expects to achieve sales growth within the installed capacity level, then it will need to finance additional working capital necessary to support sales growth and replacement of tangible fixed asset. So if a firm is a growing firm, it will need to put more working capital and more capital expenditure to manage their growth. Discount the cash flow during the explicit forecast period and beyond the explicit forecast period using appropriate discount factor to arrive at the value of operation. So in simple terms, what they are saying, compute the present value of FCF of explicit forecast period. Once we start solving a question, you will enjoy this theory part also. but without theory part we can't go ahead. Plus cash flow beyond explicit period, all period, cash flow for all the periods. But while solving, we'll prepare two working note, one for explicit period and one for infinite period after the explicit period is over, and then value of the business is thus given by, can you see in the center of your page, it's printed value of business during explicit forecast period plus value beyond explicit forecast period plus market value of any non-operating asset. Mostly so far I have not seen adjustment of this, but we will be writing this in case of any non-operating asset, that will also be added. So now in your book step 1 is printed, calculate free cash flow. Free cash flow means cash flow which is available to long-term providers of finance. So free cash flow is net operating profit after tax, which in short we will call NOPAT. Add back depreciation, because depreciation is a non-cash expenditure, minus capital expenditure required in future, and minus additional working capital investment. Now write down there or in your book, wherever you are comfortable. I am just going to rearrange these numbers. Can I write it like this? NOPAT minus, in bracket, capital expenditure, because this is minus capital expenditure, so I can put this in a bracket, plus depreciation in the bracket will become minus depreciation because there is a minus sign here, and plus working capital investment. This is minus sign here, so inside the bracket plus. So can you write one more line here? Net free cash flow is equal to NOPAT minus, in bracket, capital expenditure minus depreciation plus working capital investment. Why we are doing this? Because this capital expenditure minus depreciation plus working capital investment is called net investment. So what is the name given to that? Net investment. So NOPAT minus net investment is free cash flow. In some question they might use the terminology net investment. So what is net investment? Capital expenditure minus depreciation plus working capital is net investment. NOPAT minus net investment gives you free cash flow. This free cash flow is available to the long-term providers of finance. This free cash flow calculation is also called FCFF approach. Free cash flow available to the firm approach. Free cash flow available to the firm approach, where we are not distinguishing between shareholder and bondholder and loan provider. All providers of finance are treated as one. We don't distinguish between the providers of finance at this stage. One more thing, write down. How do you calculate NOPAT? NOPAT under FCFF approach will be, NOPAT under FCFF approach will be EBIT into 1 minus T. We don't deduct interest. We don't deduct interest and preference dividend. Or, write down or, next line or, if suppose you are given earning after tax, so you add back interest net of tax, EAT earning after tax, plus add back interest net of tax, I into 1 minus t. This is called interest net of tax. First you don't deduct the interest, but suppose you have deducted and calculated the earning after tax, you add back. The purpose of this NOPAT calculation is what is the amount that is available to providers of long-term finance. So this gives me the amount of profit available to providers of long-term finance. NOPAT means amount of profit available to providers of long-term finance. Now you come back to your book, step number 2, estimate a suitable discount rate for the acquisition. So when we are using FCFF approach, the suitable discount rate is WACC, which is based on its target capital structure. That is the capital structure which the firm wants. Based on that, WACC is calculated. How to compute WACC, I have already told you. They will give you in the question cost of debt, weight of debt plus cost of equity, weight of equity, cost of preference share. This is plus into weight of preference share, and this way you will compute the WACC if not given. For weights, use market value if market values are available. Next, after that, compute the present value of cash flow. Step number 3, the value of the company in case of going concern, that means the company is going to continue forever, is PV of cash flow during finite period or explicit forecast period and plus terminal value. Step 4, terminal value. Terminal value is the present value of cash flow after the forecast period. The business will not come to an end. Your forecasting ability comes to an end after a certain period. Then we have to assume two things. Either we will assume that the cash flow will grow per annum at a constant rate till perpetuity. In that case, the terminal value will be the formula of a growing perpetuity. Cash flow T into 1 minus G upon K minus G. So suppose you have already done the estimation of 4 years. 4th year cash flow I will take here, and then they will say the cash flow will grow at the rate of 4% thereafter. So then I will increase it by 4% upon your weighted average cost of capital minus growth rate. Now this formula will not work when subject to K should be greater than G, otherwise this answer becomes negative. Alternative 2 below. Now suppose the problem says after the finite period the cash flow becomes stable, no growth in cash flow. Apply the formula terminal value is equal to free cash flow upon discount rate or FCF upon K. And then step number 6, value of the business. Step number 6, value of the business. Present value of cash flow for the finite period plus present value of terminal value. Present value of cash flow, in your book probably it is written 5. Value of the business for the finite period and value of the business for the terminal value. Bring the terminal value also into present value terms. So I will just draw the diagram this period, first 4 or 5 year, is explicit forecast period, where individual year you have to project. So compute the present value, then you have to estimate terminal value here, which is the present value of cash flow of this infinite period, either by applying FCF upon K formula or FCF 1 plus G upon K minus G. This also needs to be discounted, and you will write PV of terminal value here. Here we have PV of cash flow of finite period. Add the two, that gives you the value of the business. That will give you the value of the business. Now that is the value of your entire business. Then the question will be, out of that value, how much is the value of shareholder? So shareholders value will be enterprise value, that means value of business. Enterprise value means value of business. Now you write down in the notebook, shareholder value will be equal to value of business or enterprise value minus long term debt, minus long term debt. From the total value, this is the total value. If I remove the long term debt, I get shareholders value, and from the shareholders value, if I remove preference share, I get value of equity share. So reverse working, from the total you remove long term debt, bonds, loan, you get shareholder value. From shareholder value, if you remove preference share, you get the value for equity shareholders funds. So reverse working, equity shareholder value is equal to shareholder value minus value of preference shares. So in your notebook you can please write down. I will first revise and then we'll go to problems. So what are the steps involved? Estimate free cash flow for the forecast period, which is normally given in the question 3, 4, 5, 6 years. How do you compute free cash flow? NOPAT plus depreciation minus capital expenditure minus additional working capital, or NOPAT minus in bracket capital expenditure minus depreciation plus working capital. This capital expenditure minus depreciation plus working capital is called net investment. So NOPAT minus net investment is free cash flow that you forecast for 4-5 years. Then compute WACC, compute the present value of the explicit forecast period. Then compute terminal value. Either it is based on constant free cash flow, formula will be free cash flow divided by K, or it is based on the assumption that cash flow will grow at a constant rate. Then the formula will become free cash flow into 1 plus G upon K minus G. Compute the present value of terminal value also. Add PV of cash flow of explicit forecast period plus PV of terminal value. That will give me value of entire business called enterprise value. From enterprise value deduct long term debt, that will give you shareholders value. From shareholders value deduct preference shareholders value, that will give you value of equity shareholders funds. And in case if they ask you value per share, then the last line, equity shareholders value divided by number of equity share, will give you value per share. So I would just add one more line here. So here value per equity share, will be your equity shareholders value upon number of equity shares. Let us solve one example and we will see exactly what we have written now will be applied. So please come to question number 1. Anil Limited is a company engaged in the business of manufacturing cement. The management wants you to value the business of Anil Limited for taking one important decision. You are advised to follow DCF approach, underline. So you have to find value of Anil Limited by using discounted cash flow approach. Following information is given. First 4 years you can forecast with individual numbers, no PAT, add depreciation, then they have given you the total of these two, less capital expenditure, increase in working capital, and then they have given you a total of this. So this is no PAT plus depreciation, and this is minus capital expenditure minus working capital. So this total minus this will give you free cash flow. So I need to first find out free cash flow for individual years, and that you can do for 4 years. What after 4 years? Let us see. Cost of capital is 12%. Very good. Even this calculation is given to you under weighted average cost of capital approach. Growth rate is 10% per annum. So that means after 4 years, from 5th year till infinity, the free cash flow will grow at the rate of 10% per annum. And the company has an outstanding debt of 50 crore. This you will deduct from the value of business. You will get the value of equity shareholders funds. So this question will give you the idea how to apply this free cash flow approach for valuation. So first step 1, write down. Step 1, calculation of free cash flow during the finite period. Calculation of free cash flow during the finite period. Calculation of free cash flow during the finite period. Now write down there 4 columns. Year, free cash flow, discounting factor at 12%, discounted cash flow. Column number 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is equal to 2 into 3. 4 is equal to 2 into 3. And then write down year. Year 2012, 2013, 14, 15. And what will be the free cash flow of the first year? NOPAT 7 plus depreciation 3 minus capital expenditure 0 minus increase in working capital 0. So 10.5 minus 0, 10.5. 11.5 minus 1.5, 10. 11.5 minus 3.5, 8. And 12 minus 3 is equal to 9. Now take calculator, write the factor. 1 divided by 1.12, 0.8929 again equal to 0.7972 equal to 7118 again equal to 6355. Remember the last column I have to add. So use memory plus function. How will you do it? Start. 10.50 into 0.8929 equal to memory plus 9.3755. Again 10 into 0.7972 equal to memory plus 7.972. 8 into 0.7118. 5.6944. 9 into 0.6355. 5.7195. Memory plus you are doing, memory recall. So good student will be able to do fast because he uses calculator nicely. That comes to 28.7614. This is the PV of cash flow for the first 4 years. After 4 years, the business will grow. After 4 years, the business will grow at the rate of 10% per annum. So now write down step number 2, calculation of terminal value. When will you get terminal value? At the end of the 4th year. At the end of the 4th year, because that infinite cash flow stream will start from 5th year. So if the infinite stream starts from 5th year and you apply the formula of perpetuity, you will get the present value at the beginning of 5th year, and beginning of 5th year is end of 4th year, already discussed in valuation of share chapter. Nothing new. Write down TV equal to CFT into 1 plus G upon K minus G. So next line, TV equal to 9 into 1.10. Sir, what is 9? 9 is the free cash flow of the 4th year. That will start growing at the rate of 10%. So you can put a circle here in 9. And then divide by 12% minus 10%. Please take your calculator. 9 into 1.10 divide by 12% minus 10%. So divide by 2%. We are getting 495. When are we getting this 495? We are getting this 495 terminal value at the end of 4th year, at the end of the explicit period. So this I need to again pull and bring it to year 0. So divide by 1.12, 4 times equal to. So that comes to 314.58. So step number 3, write down PV of terminal value. PV of terminal value 495 upon 1.12 to the power 4. 495 upon 1.12 to the power 4. And that is 314.58. Next line, step 4, value of business. Value of business will be your first 4 year present value and PV of TV. So write down equal to PV of cash flow during finite period. PV of cash flow during finite period plus PV of terminal value. Step 1 and 3. 1 plus 3 you have to add. Step 1, go to step 1, 28.7614. Go to step 3, 314.58. Add it. Add them and tell me the answer. So that comes to 343.34 rupees lakhs. Sorry, rupees crore. 343.34 rupees in crore. That is the value of the business. If you have to find the value of equity, you remove the value of debt from that. So step number 5 will be value of equity equal to value of business minus value of debt. Value of business minus value of debt. 343.34 minus 50 is equal to 293.34 rupees in crore. 293.34 rupees in crores. This is the exact application of the theory. First 4 year compute FCF, discount it. Then compute terminal value. If growth rate is given, apply the formula CFT 1 plus G upon K minus G. Compute PV of TV. Add the two. Value of business minus debt. Value of equity. This question does not have preference share. So no discussion on preference share. Is it right? Now we'll come to question number 3. Anil Limited. Again Anil. What is happening? Anil Limited is a medium-sized capital-intensive company and listed company. In the year that ended recently, the free cash flow of the company were as under. So this is the data of year which has already ended. Last year data. We have to project next year data. So NOPAT 2 crore 42 lakh. Depreciation 64 lakh. Subtotal 3 crore 6 lakh. Capital expenditure plus increase in working capital 1 crore 80 lakh. Free cash flow up to last year is 1 crore 26 lakh and market price of this share is 93. Number of share is 45 lakh. So this is the relevant data of this company. Now they are saying Mukesh Limited is interested in acquiring Anil Limited at a premium of 40%. And what is the current market price of this company? The current market price of Anil Limited is 23. Add 40%. Add 40%. So 23 plus 40% is 32.2. So what is the consideration they will pay? 32.20 per share. Consideration per share 32.20 and there are 45 lakh shares. So you can calculate 32.20 into 45 lakh share. How much will be the total consideration? Can anybody quickly tell me? So that comes to 14.49 crores. Rupees 14.49 crore. This is the PC, purchase consideration. And why they are paying so much of purchase consideration? Next line. Mukesh believes that with synergy, the business can grow by 25% for the first 4 years. So first 4 years, the business will grow at the rate of 25% and at 10% for 2 years thereafter. So they are able to do explicit forecasting for 6 years, 4 plus 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 growth rate 25%, 5 and 6 growth rate 10%. On the belief that annual incremental capital expenditure and working capital needs can be contained at rupees 55 lakh. And what will be the requirement of additional capital expenditure and working capital? 55 lakh more than previous year every time. So previous year requirement of capex and working capital was 180. So next year will be 180 plus 55. Again after that year, previous year plus 55. So this will grow by 55 lakh every year. from the 7th year onwards. So student will have to estimate the free cash flow of first 6 years separately for each year, and then after 7th year the free cash flows are expected to grow either at a low 4% or not at all. They are saying free cash flow from 7th year onwards. Two possibilities are there: zero growth or 4% growth. Cost of capital is 18. This is discount rate. If you were the chief finance manager of Mukesh Limited, suppose you are the CFO of Mukesh, would you go ahead? Would you go ahead means will you go ahead and acquire Anil Limited? Acquiring a business is sometimes like a capital expenditure program. My purchase consideration is 14.49 lakh. I will compute the PV of free cash flow. I will get some amount. If this is more than my initial investment, I will say go ahead, acquire Anil. But if this is less, I will say no, this proposal is not viable. So present value of all free cash flow, finite plus infinite period, if it is more than 14.49 lakh, then we will go ahead. So like previous question, now you have to find out the present value of all free cash flow starting from year 1 and going up to infinite period. So we'll have to first prepare a small working note: calculation of purchase consideration. Calculation of purchase consideration. First write down right hand side rupees. Point number A, current market price per share of Anil Limited. Current market price per share of Anil Limited 23, given, in bracket given. Point B, add premium paid per share. Add premium paid per share is 40% of 23, 9.2. Point C, purchase consideration per share. Purchase consideration per share A plus B. A plus B is 32.20. Point number D, number of shares acquired, 45 lakh. And point E, total purchase consideration in crores, C into D. ₹14.49 crore. This is like initial investment. If the PV of future cash flow generated is more than 14.49 lakh, then we will accept the proposal. So now write down step 2, calculation of PV of cash flows during finite period. Calculation of PV of cash flows during the finite period. First 6 years we'll estimate for individual years. After 6 years, cash flow will either not grow or grow at the rate of 4% forever. Write down one table first. First write down a table with 6 columns, year. Second column would be, it says business will grow at the rate of 25% for first year and 10% for 2 years thereafter. So here business means your NOPAT plus depreciation, because they have separately given capital expenditure and working capital requirement will grow by 55 lakhs every year. So second column is NOPAT plus depreciation. Third column is increase in working capital and capital expenditure. Increase in working capital and capital expenditure. So NOPAT plus depreciation minus increase in working capital and capital expenditure will give you free cash flow, fourth column. Free cash flow will be discounted at 18% and you will get the present value or discounted cash flow. Keeping a gap of one line, write down year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep one line gap between two numbers. Start. What was the NOPAT plus depreciation subtotal of the last year? 306 lakhs. First 4 year it will grow at the rate of 25%. So those who want to write calculation also, they will write 306 plus 25%, 382.5. Again on your calculator, plus 25%, 478.13, plus 25%, 597.66, plus 25%, 747.07. Wait, stop. After that, the growth rate will be 10%. So now you add plus 10%, 821.78 plus 10%, 903.96. So this will be the NOPAT plus depreciation in the coming 6 years. What about additional working capital and capex requirement? See, the last year was 180 lakh and the requirement goes up by 55 lakh every year. So the next year requirement will be 180 plus 55, 235, and keep adding 55, 290, 345, 400, 455, 510. After this main calculation, remaining calculations are just formality which you can do. Free cash flow will be NOPAT plus depreciation column minus working capital and capex column. Like for example, the first one is 147.5, 188.13, 252.66, 347.07, 366.78, 393.96. So now I will give you 5 seconds to find out the PV factor and find out the present value. Write yourself. Take the total of the last column. Everybody will do. I will only check the last column total now after 5 seconds. So dear student, please write the total of the last column. If you want to write directly in the last column, you can do that also. You will take free cash flow, divide by 1.18 equal to, that will give you first year answer. Then take second year free cash flow, divide by 1.18, 2 times equal to. Choice is yours. You can either write factor, then write answer, or you can directly solve the last column. Okay, I hope you have done. Should we check the answer now? Yes, yes, yes. Check. Those who have written the factors, check the factors. Check yourself. And now check the last column total. The last total is 899.14 approximately. If you are close to 899 or 900, enjoy. You know how to do the calculation. 899.14. Now this is the cash flow of first 6 year only. After that, from 7th year onward, the growth rate will be either 0 or 4, which means I have to do two calculations. One by assuming 0 growth rate, one by assuming 4% growth rate, so that I can do in the form of a table also. So step number 3, write down calculation of value of business. Calculation of value of business, serial number, particulars, free cash flow growth at the rate of 4% and no growth in free cash flow. Question says it can either grow at 4% or no growth at all. So let us solve by both the methods. First, point A, write down terminal value. Terminal value means value at the end of 6th year. Terminal value formula for growth will be FCF 6 into 1 plus G upon K minus G. Take the free cash flow of the 6th year. I'll just show you where you have to go. This is the free cash flow of the 6th year. Can you see below? 6th year, I am circling that number 393.96. Pick this number. Divide by into 1.04, that is growth rate, and divide by 18% minus 4%. Take your calculator. 393.96 into 1.04 divide by this 18 minus 4 is 14%, divide by 14%, 2926.56. If the cash flow does not grow, then the formula is free cash flow of the 6th year divided by K. 393.96 divided by 0.18. Take 393.96 divided by 0.18, 18%. So this comes to 2188.67. When will you get this terminal value? You will get this terminal value at the end of 6th year. So these numbers that you got is at the end of 6th year. I need to bring it down to year 0. I need to pull it back to year 0. So I'll multiply by PV factor of 6th year and 18%. The PV factor of 6th year and 18%, 1 divided by 1.18, 6 times equal to 0.3704, 0.3704. Point C, PV of terminal value, multiply A into B, A into B, terminal value into PV factor, that is 1083.99. Please check this number multiplied by this 1083.99. This number multiplied by this is 810.68. This is PV of terminal value, and I will add, write down add PV of cash flow during finite period. Add PV of cash flow during finite period in bracket step 2. Step 2, last line, last column, 899.14. 899.14. This is common. First 6 year will be common. Afterwards either 0 growth or 4% growth. So now I got the value of business C plus D, which is your present value of all free cash flows. This is PV of all free cash flows, C plus D. So here I am getting 1983.13. Add these two numbers. Add these two numbers. You will get 1709.82. Approximately check all calculations are right. Approximately. Some difference after decimal is okay. If you look at these numbers carefully, even if there is no growth, the cash flow in present value term is much more than your purchase consideration. And if there is a growth rate, it is even better. So in the worst case, what can happen? No growth. That also gives me an answer which is more than the purchase consideration. So write down note. Mukesh Limited should acquire the business of Anil Limited. Mukesh Limited should acquire the business of Anil Limited as the present value of future cash flows. As the present value of future cash flows is more than the purchase consideration in both the situation. Is more than the purchase consideration in both the situations. We can write one more line. Now your question could be, what if one was less and one was more than consideration? Then in that case we will compute expected value. If we assume that probability of 0 growth and 4% growth is 0.5 each, the expected value will be equal to 0.5 into, what was the answer here? 1983.13. 1983.13 and plus 0.5 into, what was the answer here? 1709.82. So in your exam, if suppose one number is less than purchase consideration, one is more, so how do you take decision? Calculate the expected value of both the number. If probability is given in the question, take the question's probability. If the probability is not given, then you have to assume that probability will be 0.5 each. So please do this calculation for me and tell me what is the answer. Is the answer something around 1846.475? Just check. One 1846.465, and since this is more than PC, proposal is acceptable. proposal is acceptable. This answer is over. Now we'll take a break.